and welcome back to Trista's Reading Room. Today we're going to be reading from Rosco the Rascal and the Holiday Lights by Shana Gorian, and this was published on December 8th, 2018. James and Mandy's neighborhood has taken first place in the Holiday Lights Best Block contest. But will Rosco's attempts at helping wreak havoc and wreck opening night? And will Mandy's insistence on working independently be her downfall at the school train parade? Find out in this heartwarming Christmas adventure, the 5th installment in the Rosco the Rascal series, which follows the adventures of a 5th grade boy, his 2nd grade sister, and their fun-loving German Shepherd. This is book 5 in the Rosco the Rascal series, and there are 12 books currently available, 2 of which are box sets. This series is aimed at advanced younger readers ages 6 to 8, or on-level older readers ages 8 to 10. You can find the ebooks on Amazon, Apple Books, Scribd, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, and other wide retailers. The paperback and hardback are on Amazon and barnesandnoble.com, and audiobooks are on Amazon and Audible, and the audiobooks are collections. They're books 1 through 5, and then books 6 through 10. And fun fact, I am the narrator for Shana and these stories. Here's a little bit about Shana. Shana Gorian is the author of the 5-star Rosco the Rascal series, chapter books for kids 6+, in which a sometimes rascally but always lovable German Shepherd uses his steadfast heroic nature to help his pals find adventure and overcome obstacles. As an avid lover of the great outdoors, Gorian can often be found on hiking trails, walking her real-life dog, or searching for other ways to relive her magical childhood. She grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, but lives in Southern California with her husband and 2 teenagers. She says her series was inspired by her real German Shepherd, but she spent most of her life as a cat person. It was only as an adult at age 40 that she first became a dog parent, and she's never looked back. Although, she won't lie, she still adores cats too, and you'll find them in some of the Rosco the Rascal books. Rosco's thoughts and point of view are always a part of each story, but he's not a talking dog. He's a real dog and behaves like one, only he seems to understand everything the kids say. Something we all wish our dogs did. Most of the books involve outdoor adventure in some way or another, because she thinks that's where the most fun is for a kid, unplugged and unhindered, and I have to agree. You can find Shana on Facebook, her Instagram, and on Pinterest. Chapter 1. Deck the Homes.
Come quick, kids! I have a letter that you'll want to see!
Mr. McKendrick leaned forward in his chair for another look at the email on his screen. It was a chilly Friday evening in early December. 10-year-old James and 7-year-old Mandy hurried into the study. Mandy knelt down on the carpet and leaned back onto her heels. James stood next to his dad's desk. They turned to hear the jingling of metal collar tags as Rosco, their large German Shepherd, shuffled into the room.
"Here, boy,"
said James. Rosco trotted across the floor and stood next to him.
"What is it, Daddy?"
Mandy asked.
"Is it a letter from Santa?"
"It's nothing quite that exciting,"
said Mr. McKendrick.
"But I think you're going to like what it says."
Mandy sat forward on her knees, eager to listen. The McKendrick family lived in the lively suburban town of Harmony. Harmony held a spectacular Holiday Lights contest every December. Hundreds of people entered, but only the best entrants, chosen by a panel of experienced judges, made it into the city's official Holiday Lights tour.
"Listen to this, kids. It says, 'Congratulations! My office is delighted to inform you that your neighborhood has been voted first place in the Best Block category of the official Holiday Lights contest.'"
"First place?" James stared at the screen.
"Us?"
Mandy rose to her feet.
"Seriously? Us?"
Mr. McKendrick spun around in his chair to face the kids.
"Yes, us,"
said Dad, brimming with enthusiasm.
"Why is that so hard to believe?"
He pointed out the window.
"First place, Best Block, our neighborhood. All of our planning, all of our hard work in the past few weeks. Kids, it's finally paid off. We did it."
Mandy threw her arms around her dad's neck and gave a hard squeeze.
Because it's the first time we've ever entered the contest, Daddy. I mean, of all the blocks, I can't believe we won!
This is very, very cool, Dad.
James patted Rosco on the back, then lifted a fist to the air.
Yes!
Rosco looked up at James, confused. What did it mean that their block was the best? The best what? Mr. McKendrick swiveled around in his chair to face the computer screen again.
I thought you guys might think so. But wait, there's more.
He cleared his throat.
As organizer of your block, we request that you inform the participants in your neighborhood to prepare for large crowds of visitors on opening night, the first Friday in December, and for all weekend evenings through the end of the month. Good luck, and thanks for participating in this honored Harmony holiday tradition.
James walked to the window and pulled away the curtains to watch the lights on his neighbor's house blink in the dark.
Everyone at school is going to be so amazed when I tell them.
Dad nodded, glancing at James.
That's for sure.
Rosco wagged his tail.
Okay, so we won a contest.
And it had something to do with the neighborhood, and with the lights he'd watched them put up recently. And it also involved lots of people. That made sense, but he wasn't so sure about the rest of the long email. It sounded complicated.
Wait! This means the map of our neighborhood will be posted on the Harmony website,
Mandy said.
People will come to see our wreaths and lights and sleighs. That means we're going to be practically famous. I have to go tell Mom.
Well, not quite famous,
Dad chuckled. Mandy dashed out of the room, hollering,
Close enough!
James was thrilled. This was huge.
We'll have to meet with the neighbors to make plans for opening night. It's only a week away. Plan on helping out tomorrow, James.
Sounds good, Dad. James couldn't wait. The two of them had been working day and night on the project. First, they'd convinced all the neighbors to enter the contest. Then they'd made a plan about how to decorate the block in an orderly way. Finally, they'd found a neighbor who could set up a state-of-the-art sound system so that music would dance in time to the lights up and down the block. Then James, Mandy, Mom, and Dad had set to work on their own house. Rosco had watched as they opened boxes in the garage, stood on ladders, hooked up electrical cords, and arranged things in the front yard. Dad had climbed up on the rooftop and traipsed about as if it were nothing unusual, banging a hammer around to fasten strings of lights to the home's roof.
We'll need Mason and his dad, too,
said Mr. McKendrick.
They'll be thrilled. I'll email everyone in the contest right now.
James cringed. He'd forgotten for a moment that Mason Campbell, his classmate and friend who lived at the other end of the neighborhood, was also a participant in the Best Block contest. Mason had worked as hard as any of the other neighbors, of course. He deserved to win first place as much as anyone. And then again, James thought with irritation, Mason was always responsible for taking first place. He wanted everything. But as quickly as James became irritated, the shame washed over him. He frowned. He shouldn't be feeling jealous at a time like this. The contest was about Christmas, one of his favorite times of the year. Plus, it had been a group effort. They needed everyone on the block to help, including Mason. James brushed it all aside. There were better things to think about. Good things. For instance, it was one of James's and his sister's favorite December traditions to load up in the minivan at night, turn on the Christmas music, and drive around to see the winners of the Holiday Lights tour. Every year, the kids would sip hot chocolate and sing along to carols while Dad drove. Mom would exclaim over the displays and laugh the loudest at Mandy's corny Christmas jokes. This year, people would drive around to see his neighborhood and his house. First place? He still could barely believe it. People came from miles around to see the best blocks. Many would get out of their cars and stroll the sidewalks. Enjoying the Holiday Lights tour each year during the month of December had become a beloved tradition in Harmony. An entire neighborhood decked out in holiday lights, after all, was the closest thing Harmony had to a winter wonderland. Yet, although the winters were always chilly, they weren't actually freezing cold. It wasn't usually cold enough to snow, and when it did, only a few inches fell. That might have been why the people of Harmony went all out with holiday decorations. Colored lights, inflatable snowmen, and battery-powered dancing polar bears could make it feel like Christmas time almost as well as snow could. Mandy bounded into the study.
Mom says I can start making the sign for the hot chocolate stand tonight.
That's great, honey, said Dad. No time like the present.
The present? I get it. Like a Christmas present.
Mandy jumped up and down.
Something like that,
said Dad. James groaned.
I can't wait for Christmas presents,
Mandy said. Mandy and James had decided that they were going to open a hot chocolate stand if their block made it onto the tour. Mandy had always wanted to run a lemonade stand, but hot chocolate would do just fine.
Mom says the poster board and markers are in the kitchen. James, can I make the sign by myself?
Sure, go ahead, said James. I'll be busy helping Dad.
Thanks!
Mandy could barely stand still.
You know, this might just be the best week of my life ever! First, I have the train parade at school, and then the holiday lights tour right here on our very own street.
Dad spun back around in his chair.
Oh, that's right, Mandy. Is your train car ready for the school parade?
I'm still working on it, but I have until Wednesday.
Well, you certainly have enough holiday spirit for all of us.
Mandy giggled.
Except maybe for Rosco.
Mr. McKendrick winked and grabbed a pair of costume antlers from a basket on the desk.
Here, James, try these on him. He's looking glum. Maybe he could use some holiday spirit.
Indeed, Rosco wasn't feeling quite as merry and bright as they were. He was still confused.
Can someone explain this contest in words I can understand, please?
Rosco sighed and sat down on the floor. But it wasn't to be. Instead, James placed the fuzzy antlers on Roscoe's head and tucked the headband behind his soft black and brown ears. Mandy squealed with delight.
He looks so cute! Like a real reindeer almost!
Rosco pawed at the headband and shook his head from side to side.
No thanks, guys. This isn't helping me with Christmas spirit. Not even a bit.
With a hard shake, the antlers fell to the floor.
Keep that off of me, please.
He shook himself and hustled across the room where he lay down to rest. Rosco wasn't a big fan of costumes.
Aw, I'm sorry, boy, said James. We won't try it again.
He walked over and petted Roscoe's back. Rosco took a deep breath and put his head down on his paws.
Good. Thanks. And don't worry about me. I'll find some holiday spirit on my own.
Although the antlers hadn't helped Rosco, in fact, there was no shortage of holiday spirit in Harmony. Hundreds of houses entered the contest, and first-place ribbons were awarded to the most outrageous, the most traditional, and of course, to the best block. Last year, James's favorite house had been the winner of the most outrageous category, and it wasn't just because of the lights. A life-sized reindeer and Santa Claus sat on the roof. Elf statues stood on the porch. Kid-sized trains, giant snowflakes, and dancing penguins filled the yard. The lights on the house danced in rhythm to the Christmas music playing in the background. The whole effect was stunning, and now James would be responsible for something like that. The Best Block Award was only given out when a neighborhood worked together to decorate an entire block. At least 12 houses in one area were required to participate in order to enter the contest. Incredibly, 60 houses in James's neighborhood were participating. It was more than just a block. It was 6 blocks. James could barely wait to tell his friends at school on Monday. He couldn't wait to see their faces. And that's it for Rosco the Rascal and the Holiday Lights today. Let me know if you want to hear more of this on Trista's Reading Room, and make sure to check out Shana and her other books in the Rosco the Rascal series. All the links can be found on our website. Have a great day!